Where's there it is. Oh,
Good evening, everyone.
Let's see, it looks like we have another minute or so till 5:30, so I'll wait until we're official.
mhm.
That was really funny because I just got a notice on my phone that said, hey, City of Salem is having a meeting right now. Like, oh, that's us.
Yeah, everyone who's going to be here, I think, is here, with maybe the exception of some interns showing up. So as soon as it rolls over to 5:30, we should be good to go.
Okay.
Oh, there's Nick.
All right, it looks like it's 5:30 based on my clock, so I will now call to order the September 15th, 2022 meeting of the Salem Historic Landmarks Commission. Will the recorder please take roll call?
Commissioner Kurteman,
Here.
Commissioner Fuller,
Here.
Commissioner Holton, Commissioner Inman,
Present.
Commissioner McGlinty-Timbrook,
Present.
Commissioner Ponce,
Present.
Commissioner Zimmerman,
Here.
and Commissioner Cunningham is absent excused, and Commissioner Mulvihill is absent excused. We have quorum.
And the commission will now hear testimony from the public concerning items not on the agenda. Is there anyone here wishing to speak at this time?
We didn't have anyone sign up. We do have some interns here if they have any public comment they'd like to make, but that's in no way required. So unless they have something they want to say, well, we can go ahead and move on to the
We
next.
should introduce, so Nick Wild, he's a Willamette student who's going to be interning this fall through our archaeology program. And we also have Adam Doyle. So you guys, you could unmute and just say hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nick. I'm an archaeology student.
Welcome, you guys.
Thanks
you.
for coming.
Nice to have you this evening. Since we do not have any public comment per se, we will now consider the approval of minutes from the August 18th, 2022 meeting. May I please have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll move to approve them.
I will second.
Okay, it looks like we have first from Commissioner McGlinty-Timbrook and a second from Commissioner Fuller. Are there any corrections? All right, all those in favor of approving the minutes as listed, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? All right, the minutes are approved. And we have on the schedule tonight a public hearing. So I will now open the public hearing for historic review case number HIS 22-23 for 1510 Davidson Street Southeast. Would the recorder please read the hearing procedures statement into the record?
This is a public hearing to consider case number HIS 22-23 for property located at 1510 Davidson Street Southeast. The criteria applicable to this hearing are listed in Salem Revised Code, Chapter 230.065, General Guidelines for Contributing Structures, and Chapter 230.025I, Accessory Structures. Failure to raise an issue prior to the close of the public hearing with statements or evidence sufficient to afford the Historic Landmarks Commission and the parties an opportunity to rate or to respond to that issue precludes appeal to the hearings officer on that issue. A similar failure to raise constitutional issues relating to proposed conditions of approval precludes an action for damages in circuit court. Prior to the conclusion of the hearing, any participant may request an opportunity to present additional evidence or testimony. The Historic Landmarks Commission will then either continue the public hearing or leave the record open for at least 7 days.
Are there any conflicts of interest or any ex parte contacts that any commissioners would like to declare at this time? Hearing none, may we now have the staff presentation?
Good evening. I'm Kimberly Fitzgerald, Historic Preservation Officer for the City of Salem. I'd like to enter the staff report, its attachments, and all public testimony into the record. The property is located on Davidson Street Southeast and is a contributing resource to our Gady Hill Bushes Pasture Park Historic District. More research is really needed to confirm the exact history of this building and the date this house was relocated, but most likely it was moved in 1954. According to National Register nomination documents, this house was constructed in 1910 in the arts and crafts style, and it was moved from its original location, which we think was adjacent to St. Paul's Church. There's a picture of that first church there on the corner of Chemeketa and Church Streets. And it was, the church we know was dismantled in 1954, which is what makes us think that the house was actually moved during that year as well. Virginia Green has done some additional research on this property. She's a Salem historian, and she's the author of the Salem Heritage Network. If you haven't checked out that blog, it's pretty cool. And so there's more information that we can, I think, find, but we still need more time to look into that. The resources contributing to the Gady Hill Bushes Pasture Park Historic District. So the proposal, so the applicant is proposing to replace the existing walkways, parking pad, and install a new patio cover and a shed. And I'm going to go through each of these one at a time. So first, the walkways and the parking pad. So the applicant's proposing to remove the existing flagstone on the walkway from Davidson Street to the western, which is actually the primary entrance to the house, and replace this with concrete brick pavers in a herringbone pattern. And they're proposing also to reroute this walkway from LaFell Street to lead to the main entrance of the house on this facade, because it's often confused because that walkway now leads to the side entrance. So the applicant's also proposing to replace the existing gravel parking pad with 12-inch by 12-inch concrete pavers. The footprint of the parking pad will not be altered. It will remain the same. So now the patio and the roof cover there. So the applicant's proposing to replace the existing 16-foot by 20-foot roof, which is in poor condition, with a new smaller patio cover, which is going to be 16 feet by 12 feet in size. The columns are going to be replaced with square columns with a single capital built of wood and painted to match. And the design will replicate to the greatest degree possible the columns that are on the front porch of the house. And the shed. So the applicant is proposing to replace the existing 8 by 12 foot shed with a new larger 10 foot by 20 foot shed. And it's going to be in the same general location as the existing shed at the southeastern corner of the property. It will match the design and materials of the house, and the siding will have cedar shakes on the bottom and lap siding on the gable ends. And the roof will be black architectural style asphalt shingles. So now I'm going to go through the applicable criteria. So for the walkway, patio, parking pad and patio cover. The applicable criteria are the guidelines for contributing resources. So SRC 230065 B through E are not applicable to the evaluation of this proposal. And the applicant generally is not proposing to alter the use of the resource or the overall design of the site, except to correct some issues with the walkway and so the proposed removal of this existing flagstone path from Lefeld to that secondary entry on the north facade and the relocation to the actual primary entry, which is off Davidson, it'll correct an existing problem with that overall site design. And the proposed change in the parking pad materials and the materials for the walkway, the walkway from flagstone to concrete and brick and the concrete pad, they don't significantly alter the character defining features of the site or of the resource. The proposed replacement patio cover is smaller than the existing cover. It'll correct existing structural deficiencies and will not alter any character defining features of the primary resource, and it's on the rear facade. And no significant excavation or regrading is required as part of this proposal. So staff recommends that the HLC find that SRC 230065A, F, G, H, and I have been met for this proposal. So the proposed shed, which is an accessory structure, will be constructed of wood with siding materials that match the primary resource on the site. The proposed structure is located at the rear of the property in the southeast corner in the same location as the existing shed. Will be 1 story in height, 200 square feet in size, and smaller in mass size and height than the 2-story, approximately 2,500 square foot primary resource on the site. The structure is designed in the Craftsman style, but it's simplified in a way that's typically found on Craftsman accessory structures throughout the Gady Hill Bushes Pasture Park Historic District. So staff recommends that the HLC find that the standards and criteria within SRC 230025I1 and 2 have been met for materials and design. So testimony. So Richard Pine submitted comments stating that he approved of the proposed plan. He had no objections. John Christensen, who's chair of the SCAN Historic Preservation Parks and Gardens Committee, provided comments stating that he did not receive notice of the proposal. However, the city records confirm that all property owners and tenants within the Gady Hill Bushes Pasture Park National Register District, as well as property owners and tenants within 250 feet of the subject property, were mailed notification of the proposal on the 26th of August, and that signs were posted on the 4th of September. Once we got the inquiry, the comments from Mr. Christensen, we did make a hard copy of the application file and staff report available, but have not received any official comments from Mr. Christensen on this issue. I had one more, sorry. The Building and Safety Division provided comments stating that the applicant must obtain required permits but they had no concerns other with the overall proposal. The planning department stated that the required setbacks have been met for the proposed replacement accessory structure, and the fire department did not have any concerns with the proposal, and neither did Public Works. So in conclusion, based upon the applicant's submittal and the findings presented in the staff report, staff recommends the Landmarks Commission approve the proposal. That concludes the staff report. And I'm going to stop sharing so you can see each other.
Thank you, Kimberly. Do any of the commissioners have questions for staff? Commissioner Inman.
Thank you. I have a question about whether or not the design should also meet the Secretary of Interior standards, particularly as to replicating the barge board detail on the main house and creating a false sense of what is historic. I'd like to know what our policy is on that.
Right. So in this particular situation, the applicable criteria are in SRC 230.025I and not the Secretary of the Interior standards. And so I can go through those criteria more specifically, but in general, we have criteria related to materials stating that the accessory structure has to utilize the same siding that's on the house, and the design doesn't, it just has to generally reflect accessory structures throughout the district. So it doesn't have the same level of, I guess, that higher bar that the Secretary of the Interior standards have.
Okay, well, I'm concerned that that it's going to create a false sense that this is a structure that dates from the time of the house. And, clearly, it's being built 110 years after the house was built. So it just seems to me that that replicating that pierced barge board detail is going to be visible from the street. It's going to, look like possibly a garage that's been converted to an accessory structure, but it's not really. So I don't know. I'm concerned about that.
Are there any other questions for staff? Commissioner Kerdeman.
Commissioner Inman makes a good point. But I think the historic nature of the structure would appear to be historic just to maybe passerbys or to the public that may see it. Obviously, any kind of research or protection action done to that structure to relate it to the house by a historian would do their proper research. We have good aerial photography nowadays that can easily show that it's not the same structure. So, and then obviously documentation to show that the structure has been changed. So I can see where your concerns could be for the passing public, but I think it would be a nicer view for the public who can see it. It looks like there might be a fence anyways, but the public who can see it, it blends in versus some sort of a bright red metal sided shed in the back.
All right, I don't see any other questions for staff at this point. I will now call for the applicant's testimony.
Yeah, my understanding is that I can answer questions that any of you guys have. And to the point of how the shed, the current shed now is one of these Lowe's or Home Depot roll off one that's on skids. So we're just trying to make it, I can understand your concern about making it seem as though it's some structure that's been there since the house was built, whatnot. But I think what my wife and I are trying to do is just make it so that it looks as much like it belongs with the house as it can. I mean, we're not trying to make it seem like some historic structure, I guess. But yeah, I was just trying to mimic the house design. And yeah, that was our thinking, I guess.
And then,
yeah,
Mark,
if you guys have any questions for me, let me know.
Mark, just real quick, I think Andy's internet has messed up. So he was in the middle of saying, before your comment, can you please state your name and record for the address, or your name and address for the record? Just real quick.
My name is Mark Histand, and the address is 1510 Davidson Street, Southeast, Salem, Oregon, 97302.
And then I don't know what to do right now since Andy's computer has disappeared.
So Jennifer, you don't have the, Zach, are you
I knew
able
you
to?
were gonna say something.
I know, because you've had experience, and also David, but I don't want, so Zach, are you able to share the cheat sheet? And while you're doing that, if it's okay, I'm gonna share my screen and put up the criteria so you can see that.
I think I have to note when Andy left, so hold on.
So this is the applicable criteria right here. I'll just read it while we're reading. So this is SRC 230.025 standards for historic contributing buildings in residential historic districts, and new accessory structures may be built on the site of historic contributing buildings, which is what we have here. Criteria 1, materials, new accessory structures should have the same siding material as the resource on the site. And 2, design new accessory structures shall A, be located at the rear of the site, B, be no taller than 1 story, C, be similar in character to those built during the period of significance. I think this is where Juliana is having a struggle. And D, be subordinate to the primary structure in terms of mass, size, and height.
But while we're waiting, I was gonna make a little comment, and like I completely get, I completely follow what we were just saying with Commissioner Inman's statement. And at the same time, and I guess maybe this is more just for the applicant, is just, the reason why it, like there's like a question about it is really just because you don't ever want to really like recreate something that didn't already exist. It's more of just, you would want to be complementary towards it, and so it's compatible, but it does, but you don't want to, like when they were saying that false sense of security, so it's just like you don't want it to be exactly the same, but it can complement it in a way. So that's basically the background of that issue.
You're muted. You're muted.
I was going to suggest that we take a 5-minute break to allow the counselor to come in. If we have further deliberations or discussions, we're going to have to make that person privy to those
Oh, right. Absolutely.
conversations when they come back. So
Good point.
rather than replowing the ground, maybe a 5-minute break.
Okay. Thank you. Good idea. It is 5:51. You guys can turn off your cameras if you want, and we'll shoot for coming back 5:57. How about that? 6. Let's do 6. Let's make it clean.
Okay.
I'll stare intently at the waiting room.
And Zach, do we want to call Andy?
I can try, yeah.
Okay.
Also, just keep in mind you're still recording and you're still live on YouTube for conversation.
Hey, it's Jennifer. I just got a text from Andy, and it said his power went out for a second, and he's getting his power and he's getting his computer back now. That was at 5:47 p.m.
Oh, thank you, Jennifer.
You're welcome.
And I did email you the scripts just in case.
Okay, cool. I don't know why I knew that was going to happen. Like, I was like, oh, she's going to say Jennifer. And I was going to be like, I'll be back.
Okay. We are still waiting on Andy. He said that is logging back in, but I don't see him yet. So it might be just another minute or two.
Can wait. That's no issue, man.
Hi, Jennifer. I don't see Andy. So
He literally just texted me and said, I emailed Zach and Kimberly, so hopefully they know I'm not going to stick with you running the meeting. I was like, nice job. He said his power went out. So
Zach, are you able to call him?
Yeah, I can try calling him.
Thank you.
my power's not out. So
Oh, there he is.
why?
Perfect. Perfect timing.
If anybody needs irises, Andy has some to get rid of, by the way.
Okay, it still says he's joining, but
Do we need to do a Kickstarter to get Andy a better computer?
I think it was his power.
No, but this is the slowest connection ever.
yeah, it's taken a while.
Is it dial up?
Why don't you give him a call, Zach?
Okay.
He's waiting on his end. Also,
It says he's joining, but maybe that's having issues. I'm
He
gonna
might
mute-
want to, yeah, he might want to close Zoom and try to rejoin.
He's being positive. Hopefully in a minute, things will be good. It's almost as if he was there.
His phone went straight to voicemail, so I don't know. But now it says that he's left the waiting room, so I'll see.
I think
Hopefully just
this is-
restarting Zoom.
so. I think that we give it a few more minutes, but then I think we should proceed without him. I think that the delay's been too long.
Did I tell you about the one time the hearings officer was 45 minutes late?
No. That's fun. I mean, no, it's not.
And if he doesn't get back, we're right around 16, number 16, facilitating discussion and then calling for a vote for a motion.
Yeah. Okay, he's trying to join again. We'll see if this works.
Maybe he could try without a video. Takes a little more
Just
time.
his phone. Yeah, but if he's not answering, it's too difficult. Poor guy.
Oh, there it says he's in, but without audio yet.
Aha.
There we go.
Oh, Jennifer, you're so lucky.
Yeah, I split, I'm sitting outside, so I don't have my dual monitor. So I split my screen though. And I'm like, I got the script up. I'm like, was ready to go. Andy moved to the bed to.
I'm here. I'm here.
Yay.
Yeah, my apologies. Yeah, all of a sudden some sort of power burst or something. I was talking and then all of a sudden everything was dark for a second, and then I had to try to get the computer back up, and it's one of those things where it seems like where you're watching a pot boil, a kettle will go off. It just seems like it takes longer than it possibly should. So my apologies for the disruption, but fingers crossed there won't be any additional issues moving forward. Do we need to restart the meeting, or what's the
We
protocol
just
for that?
kept going.
We just took a short recess.
We took a short
Um,
break till you
We
got
were,
back.
we had just made I believe Jessica was commenting.
I
at
think
the
we should
time.
start where we left off with you, Andy, if that's okay. And I think
Okay.
Mark did state his name for the record, and I think that maybe just pick up there
Okay,
on your
on my list. Okay.
you don't need to do anything. I think it's just procedurally, I think that's where we left off with you answering questions. So
Okay, so since he's already provided his address, so then we're just asking, does any commissioner have any questions for the applicant? Or the applicant's testimony, excuse me. And that hasn't been given yet, correct?
yeah, he answered some questions.
Oh, okay,
So I
okay,
think
sorry.
that's okay. He didn't have any testimony. He just answered some questions. So you,
Okay.
I think that you can ask that one more time. Does anyone have any questions for the applicant? And then move through your.
Okay. Do any commissioners have any questions for the applicants?
I think technically Mark has to restate what he said because Andy wasn't here and Andy can't participate in the vote unless he has the full information. I'm sorry, but yeah. So
Yeah.
if you could just repeat what you said when Andy disappeared.
Well, my name is Mark Histon. My address 1510 Davidson Street, Southeast Salem, Oregon. And then I think I was mentioning that the shed, my wife and I were just trying to come up with a design that mirrored, well, we literally looked at the criteria that Kimberly showed and tried to just follow what that said as best we could. So trying to match the siding, that type of thing. And I just also didn't say this before, but from the LaFell Street and from Davidson Street, there's a 6-foot privacy fence. So you really actually can basically just see the roof of the structure from the street. There's not a 6-foot fence, sorry, from the Davidson side, but it's behind the house, so you really can't see it very well. And I think that's it. Yeah, if you guys have questions for me, let me know.
Do any of the commissioners have questions for the applicant?
Do we need to rehash our comments?
During deliberations.
Okay.
Is there anyone representing the neighborhood association that's here tonight?
We do not have anyone from the neighborhood association nor members of the public here that have signed up to testify tonight. So,
okay. Are there any additional questions of staff? Okay, hearing none. Is there anyone who provided testimony who would like to keep the record, or that would like to request that the record remain open to submit additional evidence not yet presented? Okay, I will now close the public hearing. No additional testimony will be accepted at this time without formally reopening the hearing. I will now call for a motion.
I'll move to approve as stated by staff.
A second, no changes as submitted.
So the motion by Commissioner McGlinty Timbrook is seconded by Commissioner Ponce. I will now call for Commissioner McGlinty Timbrook to your motion.
I think it's a really, actually, I think it's a really good design. I think it's gonna just add more integrity to just the structure, just in general, you know, or like, and the house was moved, so we don't really know what even like any pathway looked like before. So, but yeah, no, I mean, I made the comment about, you know, when Commissioner Inman and Commissioner Kurtman were talking about, you know, the mimicking an older, you know, the stuff on the front, and just giving a rehash of just like, we don't want to make exact replicas of things and stuff like that. And so I think that the design with the shed is complementary, and it'll, you know, and it's like he just said, we're not going to see it, we won't really be able to see it anyway, but I just think, you know, I think it'll be a good ad just for the whole general area. So but I think it's really good design, so that's it.
Thank you, Commissioner Ponce.
Just like to thank the applicant for the work they put into it. And I think that it will make a much more livable structure and residence for them and maintaining integrity.
I also think that I'm sure will help with kind of the look of the property in the house. And I know having flagstone, you know, that's kind of can be kind of treacherous at times, you know, when it's slick and the winter months. So I can definitely understand the need to upgrade to make kind of a safer pathway, and definitely with outbuildings, when they age, eventually get to that point where you have to make a decision and upgrade those and make things safer. So I can definitely relate to the home improvement projects there. Do any other commissioners have a comment? Commissioner Inman?
Yes, I'd like to comment that the paving changes, the walkway changes, driveway changes, reducing the size of the canopy in the back, I think are all positive changes for the site. And I agree that the flagstone it can be a treacherous material here at times. Those are all really good changes, and also removing the little big box store shed in the backyard is going to be a positive change. On balance, I support the project, and I wanted to get my comments out there because it is a significant neighborhood, significant site, National Register district for the city of Salem. So we should, always keep that in mind.
Thank you. Any other commissioners care to comment? Okay, I will now call for a vote. All those in favor of the motion to, as stated by the city, excuse me here, as all those in favor of the motion by Commissioner Timbrook to approve the project as stated, say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed, say nay. All right, the motion passes. Thank you. All right, I don't see any action items on our agenda this evening, so we'll move right into the discussion items.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
It's okay
you. Good
that I
luck.
sign off now? Is that correct?
Yeah, you can go ahead and log off. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but you're not required to in any way.
We're so much fun.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and with the discussion items, we have the newsletter check-in.
It's me.
How are things looking for that, Zach?
I need more volunteers. I think I have one right now, which is Brett. And we're not 100% sure what the subject's going to be, but so the theme of the newsletter is underrepresented voices. Brett was going to write I'm going to write something, so that's two, I guess. I count. I'm not a commissioner, but I count. So I'm looking for maybe two more if I can finagle that. Jessica, were you talking to me or were you mumbling? Okay,
I was mumbling.
that's fine. But you can.
You could totally write about your project, aren't I nice? About the project you're working on with the Chinese community. Don't make a face.
You just got voluntold.
I know.
That
I
would be a
know.
good project.
Kirsten was just guilting me this morning about needing to write something. So.
Oh, what good timing.
She was also
I know.
guilting me.
Zach, when would you need stuff by?
So originally this was going to go out next week. That's not going to happen.
No.
And I'm going to be gone the first 2 weeks of October. So I think that this will go out the week of the 17th, probably later in the week because I'll get back that week.
Of December?
No, October. The week of October 17th, probably the 21st is my guess is when this will go out. So anyone, you've got about a little bit over a month.
Zach,
to-
if you don't get any additional volunteers, we could repurpose that article that was published this week about MLK
Oh,
Parkway
yes.
and civil rights and African American community, if that fits.
I think that would fit if we don't get any more volunteers. So Jessica, am I writing your name down or no? Yes, okay. Wonderful. And that's where we're at. So it should be in about a month is when this will hopefully go out. Yes. And that's all I've got. Our next one is going to be winter, and that theme is something which I am looking up right now in case people want to prepare for it. I don't want to. Oh, it's then and now, I think is what we were titling it. We were hoping to revisit because Steve wrote an article about the renovations going on at the and so we're hoping to revisit that and see where they are now. But then and now is the theme. So any things that we may want to just visit, like we could write about the Eco Earth Globe and how it used to be an acid ball.
How about the fact that the car park, and now there's a boutique hotel there, and also we allowed them to demolish it after so many years too. So that
so
would
you're
be.
writing about that one?
Oh no, I'm an ideas person, Zach. Ideas.
But yeah, so that'll be the winter one, which will go out in December/January. And that's the one that gets physically mailed. So we do have that one that's more limited. So we don't need quite as many pieces, or the pieces that we will take will be smaller. But yeah, so that's the winter theme is then and now. But we are going to go ahead and we'll move forward with the 3 articles we have right now. If I can get one more, that would be great. If anyone has a epiphany about something that they want to write about, please let me know. But that's all I have for the newsletter.
Thanks, Zach. And let's see, we've got workplace assignment updates and check-ins. Does anybody want to provide an update to kind of give us a word on what's going on with some of the things they're working on?
Yeah, I can do a quick update. As of about 10 minutes ago, I submitted the request for the governor to proclaim that October is Archaeology Month. Last year, they started requesting that these proclamations be sent in 30 days in advance. So we'll see if we get it or not. But either way, the archaeology community recognizes October as Archaeology Month. So I don't know how we're going to. There's not any plans for a celebration or anything. I feel like the past couple of years kind of had burnt everyone out on trying to not host activities. And then this year, I feel like it's like, oh, do we not? So there's nothing planned. We didn't do anything last year. The year before, we did the postcard. So I'll see what I can come up with in a couple of weeks, but it may be pretty low key again this year.
Thank you. And if you have anything that I could use for like social media purposes or something, I can always put something out there as well for our followers on, Twitter or Facebook or something, just to kind of get a little more maybe interest or visibility for it, even if there isn't any kind of like big event kind of thing going on. And it might even be an opportunity for us too to kind of bring up some of the stuff that was, the project over at Mission Mill, or some of the previous stuff that has been worked on, in Salem, just to kind of bring some notoriety to some of the activities that have gone on with archaeology and local history and things, just so folks can who maybe have forgotten about those projects can, kind of get a chance to revisit those, or, folks that haven't, followed us previously, you'll get an opportunity to look at some of those things again. Does anybody else have anything?
I've got,
Oh, okay. Hi, Steve. Sorry about that.
no problem, no problem. So just wanted to share that we have got a plan for getting together, Juliana and I and Kimberly, to discuss this enforcement improvement. And we're going to work first on the flyer, update that, and then we will tackle the next phase of that update at that time. But apologies, really, it has fallen to the back burner, and we will bring it to fruition. So thank you for your patience in that.
Thanks, Steve.
I'll just chime in on our outreach surveying. We haven't really, I know that I have not done anything yet in terms of the survey. I'm not sure about Juliana, but we've been working with the Highland neighborhood for their survey, and looks like they've gone out and done some stuff. There's, they still have some questions about things, and so Kimberly's done a good job, responding to them and saying, don't worry about it. Nobody's expecting you to be an expert on anything. So I haven't talked to Juliana either because, I've been out with my daughter going to school and stuff, but maybe we can, talk about doing some surveying, strengthen numbers, or, collaborating, put it on a calendar, something like that. But no, so there's an active RLS going on in the Highland neighborhood, and hopefully we'll get some good results from it. So
Thank you. We'll move now to the Historic Preservation Officer's report. I know that we got a proclamation from the mayor about Hispanic Heritage Month. So I don't know if you want to share a little more
there
about
it
that.
is. Yeah, that's exactly what a good segue there, Andy. Yeah, actually beginning today, so September 15th through October 15th is Hispanic Heritage Month. And at the council meeting on Monday, Mayor Bennett read this proclamation. So I think about this always too late every year, Andy. I'm kind of echoing Jessica's comments. So maybe through social media, maybe I'll send you some stuff and things, and we could share some interesting stories. I have a couple of ideas, but maybe you can think of ideas too about Hispanic heritage and recognizing their contribution to our community. I'd like to try and figure out how to do that. And
Yes,
maybe
that
think
sounds
ahead to next year too, doing something. I do have a specific event I'll send you also, Andy. And I think it's happening. I think it's happening this weekend. Do you remember, Zach? It's one of our planners who's doing it. He shared it in.
Oh, yes, that is this weekend. I don't remember what it's called, but I can find it really easily.
Great. Yeah, we'll share that with you, Andy, and then maybe you can put it out.
That sounds great.
Yeah. And I did want to mention that we don't have any cases for next month. And so, of course, I leave it to your all's discretion, but we could take a break next month and then reconvene in November.
also, Zach's going to be gone for the first 2 weeks of October. So
Yes, and not to sway you, but October
My
20th
birthday.
is my birthday, and
mine is the 17th.
And mine's
October's a
25th.
great. Yeah. So
Mine's the 16th.
see, we should just have a birthday.
We don't have
party.
quorum, but let's have a birthday lunch.
Yeah.
Any other Libras or anything like that out there?
Juliana. Oh, we should have a
Juliana.
birthday party.
You're muted. You're muted.
Yeah, I'm on the 30th.
Oh, so close to Halloween.
30th of September.
Oh, 30th of September. Oh, that's soon. Well, happy birthday
Yeah, thank you.
Yes,
coming up.
Libra is the best.
Yeah.
Season.
The ukulele here. See the ukulele.
And I don't have anything else. So that's all I had.
Okay, I think I don't have anything to adjourn with outside of my trusty cup here. So the meeting is adjourned.
Yay.